Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, Swamp Swimmer, and with me, as always, the Fred Flintstone to my Barney Rubble, Vespacian.
Hey, that's a great one. Hi, everybody. So you identify with Barney, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I think I do. I'm the wily neighbor who comes over and bothers you every once in a while.
I'm the big dumb guy with the hot wife. Okay. I like that.
I don't know. All right. Jesus. I think we should play our favorite little game at these bad reps of what would this person be in the Ninth Age?
Good.
What would Robin Hood be in the Ninth Age? I was thinking about this today. I think the easy answer is like, a brigand in Kingdom of Aquitaine. That's the easy answer. But my answer, I think, is a infernal dwarf levy who's stealing from like the Taskmaster infernal dwarf.
Okay.
Like in the mountains or whatever, like doing little raids and stuff. He was a levy, and then he's playing the system and stealing from his overlord.
That's a creative one. I like that. You could see, just because of the connection to the forest, you could kind of see a Sylvan Elf, right? There's this background theme that Kingdom of Aquitaine was originally led by a vampire, right? And so maybe like a Sylvan Elf who's like trying to help the Aquitanian peasants survive under their vampire overlord or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
I like that.
That's a good
That's
one.
a good idea.
Robin Hood. I like Robin Hood as an idea. That's cool.
So it's like, he's this Kingdom of Aquitaine province is currently being lorded over by a vampire that's pretending to be human.
Mm-hmm. He was the king of Aquitaine.
So
He's like the founding king of Aquitaine. It's kind of a cool little tweak. They sort of took the Mousillon story from Games Workshop and completely reworked it right to fit into the Ninth Age and kind of provide a little bit more background. I think it's a nifty idea of this like undead kingdom that breaks free. It's kind of cool.
I like it. But let's get on to the bat rep. It is round one of SoCal Joust. Woo. We're all excited. We're playing real life games. Let's get in here. We will be starting with Vespacian's game.
Awesome.
And you got paired into Brian Henry, Warriors of the Dark Gods.
Yes, and a quick reminder on this. So Will, the tournament organizer, had some he called them twists to the mission. This one was the biggest twist, and the idea was that you had to identify 3 characters in your opponent's army, and each one was worth a battle point when you killed them. It didn't matter how they died, just if they weren't in the game at the end. And if your opponent didn't have 3, then you would get the difference for free, right? So, for example, my opponent here had only 2 characters, so I started off the game with 1 battle point. So already,
but also you can't. There's no negative.
Correct.
So you can't get less than 3 points. So right at this, you're starting the game and you can't get less than 4 points.
That's right. Yeah, good point. Yeah. So a little bit of difference. So you'll see some weird scores in this round as a result of that. But just as a reminder, and then it was refuse flank, so the diagonal.
Do you want to go over your list just for the next 5 videos? Just do a brief overview of your list.
Yeah, so we've got the High Prince, Master of the Kranich Tower, with Destiny's Call, Sliver of the Blazing Dawn, Spear. So, great hitty on foot character with some good defensive-ness and 5 spells. So really important part of the army. Also, as the general, he can give bodyguard to the lions if he's in them. And then I've got a Mage, Wizard, Adept on Divination with Book of Arcane Mastery, and I did Dragonfire Gem. It's kind of a meta call. I was thinking that there would see a lot of Pyro and Infernal Dwarves. Commander, Queen's Companion with Moonlight Arrows and double Aether Icon. So this guy gives quick to fire to the unit he's in and has 3 Strength 4 Flaming AP1 shots. 29 Seaguard with the Flaming Standard, just wanted to have that counter for Druidism, and I was kind of thinking I'd see a lot of regen out there, so I thought this would be good. 20 Citizen Spears, Elaine Reavers, 18 Lion Guard, the Banner of a Calming, full command, 5 Grey Watchers.
Shoot. Sorry, my bad. There you go.
5 Grey Watchers, 3 Seaguard Reapers, Frost Phoenix, and 2 Highborn Giants with giant clubs as they're using Treeman models. Pretty excited about those. I finished painting one of these up like the day before. So
I think Will let in the giant supplement, and you're the only one who took advantage, I think.
I am out of 38 players. Yeah. Awesome. Lame.
Let's
okay.
move on. Let's move on to Brian's list. Warriors of the Dark Gods. Chosen Lord on a chariot with the Burning Portent. Wrath, Luck of the Dark Gods. So he's pretty hefty. He's pretty killy. Sorcerer on a chariot, Adept on Evocation with Basalt and Hero's Heart. 20 warriors with Great Weapon Sloth and Zealot's Banner. 8 Warhounds. 10 Chosen with Greed with Icon of the Infinite. A Battle Shrine with Lord of the Damned. A single Wretched One, the Helma with the 2 Ominous Gateways, and then 2 Forsaken Ones.
Yeah.
It's a beef list. It's a lot of tough, badass stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really nasty stuff in here. The one part of it that I was happy with was I felt like his magic phase was pretty one-dimensional. He's got the Evocation, Adept, and the Icon of the Infinite. So basically 3 spells, right? Which I felt like it was good for dispel priority, so I was happy with that. But a lot of beef, as you said.
And Aaron did something pretty cool. He actually wrote down his thoughts before the match, which I don't normally do.
Trying to channel my my math CD. I'm not sure of his real life name, but he has a great channel called Watch These Dice, where he's, I think, a Swiss guy who does a lot of great matchups, and he has a really elaborate matchup analysis. But I like the idea of doing this in advance, thinking it through, and then kind of holding myself accountable to it at the end. So I gave this a 3+, basically. So I think a even-ish match with some upside if things go my way. I chose my spells in advance. I just didn't want to take the time and think through it, so I stuck with that, dropping Healing Waters because he had the Portent Lord, and going for I really wanted Stars Align and Fate's Judgment for the Forsaken Ones. And then, as you can see, kind of a similar synopsis: Punch You in the Mouth Warriors list with double border alarm, Portent Chariot. I need the Shooting and Magic show up in turns 1 and 2 to ease the pressure and let the Sea Guard and the monsters take the list apart. Target priority is the Chariot characters and the Forsaken Ones. I have 3 bolt throwers. I really need to start punching wounds through on those Chariot characters early, so I have a chance, because I think if we get into a big grind, I lose eventually. So yeah.
So this is.
Oh, I should note. So there were 2 list reviews, right? And it was an even split. One list review said that I would win, and the other list review said that I would lose. So let's see how this goes.
All right. So tell me what you got on the board from left to right.
Yeah. So left to right, you can see the 2 giants. Kind of one of them's covered up by the wing of the Frosty there. Then the Frosty, which is that blue dragon. I've got the Sea Guard. Those the 2 models that are kind of there at the left, they just wouldn't fit on the edge of the base, so I pushed them back there. It's 11 wide. The 5 Grey Watchers behind, 5 Reavers kind of sheltering. They were originally up, and I pulled them back with the Vanguard. The 2 bolt throwers in the forest, the other bolt thrower in the back there, the Lion Guard in the forest, kind of zoning. Spears down there on the right, and then just to quickly point out, he had 2 portals placed at the beginning of the game.
Is this his portal right there, that thing?
Exactly right in the forest. Or sorry, that's a lake. And then the other one is just up there in front of his Helmaw. Yeah, exactly. And so on his side, he's got one wretched one. This is after his first turn movement. Apologies for that. He's got one wretched one up there in the ruins at the top of the board.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a Helmaw, played by the big Glotkin guy there. He's got his Portent Lord there, that chariot, a Forsaken one. And then the big battle shrine-y thing is a battle shrine, not surprisingly. And then you can't really see it, but that white base behind is the that one is the adept on chariot. And then there's a wretched one there in the middle and a forsaken one next to it. Yeah, exactly. And then the warhounds there, using to chaff the lions. And then in his first turn, he portaled those warriors over from near the ruins to down there.
That's scary. And that's really scary.
Yeah, and then he has the chosen
here. Yep. That's a big first turn.
Yeah, I struggled a little bit because it's always iffy when you're playing portals, right? Of what they're gonna do. Essentially, I felt like I had enough to kind of either wrap him up if he did this move and portal over onto the right, I could kind of use some various things to chaff and stuff. So I was feeling fairly good about the positioning. But yeah, he went for an aggressive move, not surprisingly. So yep.
All right. So the next photo.
Yeah.
So this is bottom one.
Yeah, bottom one. So I think I make a big mistake on the top. That wretched one up there was a 8 on the dice charge from both giants. Yeah. And based on the way that he was positioned, I could hit him and get out of the arc of the Portent Lord. And so I really liked the idea of having a giant there. Because I could start to threaten the Helmaw early, be out of arc of the Portent Lord, and basically make him kind of split his decision making. So I had 2 giants. I needed an 8. I figured, let's go for it. And the other thing that I was thinking was, So
you went for the charge here, and you missed with both.
I missed
on
with
8.
both, and the worst case scenario happened where I both of them I rolled a 7 with a 6 and a 1.
Oh god.
And the way I had calculated it was that if I failed, I'd likely be failing with like a 3 or maybe a 4 top dice, and that would have put me at a 12 or an 11 on the Portent Lord. Now with a 6, now he's quite comfortably within charge range of those giants. But this one, I think looking back, might have been a mistake. I liked the logic of it at the beginning, but I think it was, obviously with the outcome, it ended up being a mistake. And then on the bottom right, I charged the spears into the warhounds, and my reasoning here was I liked this position because I could get rid of his chaff unit. Ideally, if they might even help block up his shrine or something like that, kind of constrain his movement when they ran. And I had the ability to reform and chaff the warriors with the spears. So that was my play here. Yeah. And then I pull the lions back and kind of adjust to address his advance on the right-hand side there. And I pull the Frost Phoenix back. As you can see, he placed his 3rd portal in that big token up there on the left.
Here, this one here. Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to be prepared for some counter charges and kind of zoning over there, depending on what he moved. So yeah, that was that.
Gotcha. All right. So this is now back to his turn.
Yeah. So
I see.
Yeah. So let me tell you. So that is just to put it in perspective, you see where my prince is over, he's on the far right of that Seaguard unit. I had gone as far as to ensure that he was within 12 inches of the edge of that spear unit so that I'd have the 10 minimized for that reform check. Of course, I fail it with 2 6s and a 5, and now I'm like, oh man, this is all gonna fall apart over on the right. So what I decided to do was, since I failed the restraint, I figured I might as well pursue and try to just like jam him up and cause him some trouble and pull some stuff away in the middle. That was my thinking. And beyond that, I think you can see I did a wound or two to that Forsaken one in the middle. You can see he's using those little red teardrops in the back.
Yeah.
And then the big news from this phase was that I managed to put 3 wounds through on the Portent Lord.
Oh, geez.
So he stopped my Fate's Judgment on the Forsaken one, and I failed the Quicksilver Lash on 3 dice. But then fortunately I managed to get through a bolt. He failed his Aegis save, and I did the max wounds, and that, honestly, all the kind of bad luck before this, it was probably worth that, because that model is tough for me to take care of, right? So that was a big swing. But now we're on to his move.
Did he go for the charge with these warriors at the bottom into the bolt thrower and failed it?
He did, yeah. So he went for it. It wasn't like super close. I think he needed like an 8 or something like that, but he failed it with like a 1 and a 2, so just stumbled forward, which was nice. You can see he had the move and portaled the Chosen over here.
I think this is scary. That's scary.
It's scary for sure. He and then he gets the Treeman charge with the Portent Lord, which what I was worried about. And he kind of just shuffled. Oh, and then he goes in with both Forsaken ones, because I guess he figured that he needed to do some real damage to the Spearman. And it just kind of adjusted the rest of his line. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I have mine next turn, right? Yeah. Okay. So here, the bad luck.
So in the end of the combat phase, the Spearmen die just straight out.
Yeah, Spearmen get vaporized. I think maybe just a couple remain, and he chooses to have me run towards the middle and pursues and catches me. He does take off the giant, which actually is dicier than you'd think, because he's wounding on 4s. He could have failed, and with only 1 wound left, I was like, God, if he just leaves that giant on 1 wound, I'm going to kill this guy. But didn't happen. He took him off fully by 1 wound. Did exactly what he needed. And then the giant next to him with a re-rollable 8 fails his panic test and runs. So the Giants have officially done nothing so far.
Bad start to the tournaments for the Giants.
And then I fail the minimized 8 rally check with the Giant for it to run off the board. So they officially did nothing completely. Okay, so what do I do? I'm like, wow, things are not going great. So I bring the Reavers up to chaff, and I reposition basically to shoot, as much as I can at those Chosen, but now I'm kind of kicking myself with the positioning of the bolt throwers, because it's taken that Chariot Lord and the Chosen are out of my arc, so I don't have great targets. These targets that are really threatening me, I can't shoot at. I bring the Lions around to zone the Forsaken ones and kind of hold them off in the center, and I do move that bolt thrower back. Essentially, I think I turned that into like a 10 or 11, or maybe even an impossible charge for the Warriors there. So yeah, that was my movement here.
Okay. So in the shooting phase, looks like you don't get a whole lot of work done. You get a few into the
so there's a couple things that do happen here. I take off actually a decent number of the Chosen, just lots and lots of shooting, and from the Sea Guard. And I think it was this turn that I managed to put through 2 wounds or something on that Adept, the Chariot Adept. You can kind of see that red thing in the back right of his base. So I threw like 2 or 3 wounds there, which I was happy with. Remember, I need to kill these characters to get battle points there. So so in his turn, he splits the Forsaken ones. They go opposite directions.
And you, one other question with the Reapers, did you not choose to shoot into the warriors here? Because it looks like you maybe did 1 wound.
Yeah, I figured I wasn't going to be able to do enough damage there, and so I was more keen to go after the characters because of the battle points.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, and so so he splits the Forsaken ones and brings them in opposite directions there. He brings, you can see that wretched one that I originally tried to charge with the giants, and he wanted to chaff the Sea Guard up, and he rolls like a 17 and gets way farther forward than he had hoped, and actually sets me up for a quite nice little situation where the lions can charge it and have a 5 or a 6-inch overrun into that Forsaken one.
Yeah, I see it.
So I was actually pretty happy with how this landed, and then he went to clear the chaff with the Reavers. So yeah.
Yeah, here, yeah. Okay. So you take that charge.
Yeah, so he cleans up the Reavers. I take that charge, and I'm happy with that. I'm okay with the Sea Guard there. I'm able to get them out of the line of sight of the Portent Lord, and just I can just keep shooting at the Chosen. I set it up so that they're out of advanced moves, so I can stand and shoot 2. And then what I do is I pull back the other 2 bolt throwers and I move up the one to chaff his warriors, so he doesn't have a possible overrun there, or it's like a 12 or something. And I pull the Grey Watchers back, also shoot at the Chosen, so that hopefully I can get the debuff off on them if they do decide to go into my my Sea Guard. So yeah, I was like, oh, I've got some plays here, things are starting to look a little bit better. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So a couple of things. I think we've so we skipped a little bit. So if you can go back, I can kind of tell you how this settles up. I think this turn, or maybe the last turn, was the one where I got a lash off on his Chosen Lord, and managed to fail to wound with 3 hits on 2s. With the lash. So I was really disappointed with that. So from here, my lions take off the wretched one, not surprising, and then I overrun and I fail the 5 or 6, whatever it was. And so you can see where that would put me. You kind of put the lions up, just in the flank of that Forsaken one, so he can bring in the Chosen Lord and the Hellmoth into their flank. 1,
2, yeah.
Yeah, so I can, and then he can also turn the Forsaken one around and charge in as well. So so he does that. He brings all 3 in. He, in the bottom right, he charges the bolt thrower, picks it up with these guys there, and he brings the Forsaken one, kind of the white Forsaken one in the bottom there, kind of back towards the center.
Okay.
And then maybe can you advance to the next picture? I don't want to spoil too much. Yeah. Okay. So essentially what happens is I with like 9 or 8 lion attacks, I do exactly what I need to kill that Forsaken one in the center, right? The one next to the Portent Lord. It had 2 wounds left, right? So I do like 2 or 3 wounds to it, which would multiply to 2 wounds each. So I just need 1 to go through. He saves all 2 or 3, and the thing doesn't die. I do no wounds to the Hellmaw in my flank. I challenge out the Portent Lord just to minimize the damage to the lions, but the Forsaken one and the because I wasn't able to do any wounds, he ends up breaking me and runs me down, and he pursues with the Forsaken one and the Portent Lord, and the he really wants to get the lion, so he pursues with everything. Then, so not to say that that all luck went my way. In that turn that he did that, he had brought the Battle Shrine up, sheltering his little evocation sorcerer there. So I couldn't see him with the bolt throwers. He brings him up for a big Graves Call on the or whatever he can do on the one of the bolt throwers. So he it's the big phase, right? whichever one gives pluses to miscast, I think the one phase. And he rolls 666 on the Graves Call and blows up his shrine.
Oh, jeez.
Now he takes the bolt thrower with him, right? So he does take it off.
Yeah, it does take the bolt thrower. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're caught up. Now we're on to my turn. So in my turn, I.
One last question. Did he take the Chosen over here through the portal?
He portaled him because you can see he's gone from 10 down to 4 with a wound, right?
Yeah.
So that's just Seaguard just hammering them with shots, basically. And so he portals them over there. So now what I do, and you can't see it at all, if you zoom in, you can see his little spearhead sticking up above the hill, but I charge out with the spear prince. There it is. See that? It's like that little white kind of like
thing?
spear. Yeah, that right there. That's his little spear sticking up.
Okay.
So the spear prince charges into the flank of the Portent Lord, and I'm basically banking on taking that last wound off of that guy, and that my shooting from the Seaguard will be able to take off the that Forsaken one, because if not, I'm gonna be in real trouble.
Yeah.
So I charge in there. And then in my shooting phase, because his battle shrine blew himself up, I have a one-time single shot on that mage, and through a forest, but within half range.
Oh, this guy right here, yeah.
Yep, and I take him off one shot right there. So that was awesome.
Did he have a special save?
No, he was like a 1-up rerollable, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So take him off, and then in my shooting phase, or magic, one or the other, I do manage to take off that wounded Forsaken one on the left there.
This one.
Yep. And in my magic phase, I get a number of buffs off on the Spear Prince, and just take the Portent Lord off before he can swing, which is awesome.
Wow, that was a good turn for you.
It was a big turn, because I that's 2 battle points from the characters and all their points and a Forsaken one, right? And his magic phase, essentially. So yeah.
And the battle shrine, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and the battle shrine. So yeah, that turned things around. So, and then is this the last one we've got?
Oh, we got one more.
Okay. So he tries to go into the Seaguard with the Forsaken one and fails. And then.
But how did they back up? Oh, they were there. Go ahead.
They reform him back up 2.5, and then I basically just kept the Frosty out. I pulled back to shoot at that Forsaken one. I did make a mistake here in that I didn't see it, but I gave him enough of a wheel so that he could go past the Seaguard into the Grey Watchers and then get off the board. So that Forsaken one ended up, I think, finishing the game with just 2 wounds left. So that was a shame, because I could have gotten those points. So that was a mistake. I think that actually saved him a battle point there. And then I think this is probably the last picture, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I pull when he does that with the Forsaken run and runs off the board, I just turn the Seaguard around, and between Lash, Fate's Judgment, and all the Seaguard shots, I managed to take off the Helmaw in the last turn by exactly.
That makes sense. The Helmaw is not that tough.
No,
it's a big model, but it's not that tough.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was looking pretty dark in that like turn 2, turn 3 range, but I had a big kind of 4 to 5 to 6, and
where did the Spear Prince end up? Did he just run back into the unit?
Ran back into the unit the next turn, yeah. He debated charging the Helmaw, but I think I had like Awaken the Beast and Stars Align on him, so I think actually he probably one-shots that Helmaw with that spear. So yeah, so he didn't do it, and he didn't have any range damage left, right? So yeah. So
yeah, you pulled that one out of the fire, I think.
Yeah, I did. Couple big turns there. So at the end of the day, I have the Seaguard and all of my characters, the Frost Phoenix and 1 Bolt Thrower. Yeah. He has the depleted Chosen units.
Over here.
Basically full strength warriors. I think I did nothing to them all game, and that 1 Forsaken one, which was holding on to half points by one wound.
And you ended up with a 15.
Yep.
Which
Exactly.
isn't bad for a round one. That's not bad at all.
No. I was especially where it was in turn 2 or 3. I honestly thought I was going to get steamrollered. So this was, this I think went well. I stuck with my game plan and got a few key rolls from the bolt throwers on the chariot characters when I needed it. And yeah, so it's always worth saying, don't give up. It's not over till it's over, right? So
I agree.
I was happy with this outcome for sure.
I was really impressed of how Brian was using his Helma. Like every time I face a Helma, they use it for like one turn to get a unit where it needs to go, and then they forget about it. But I did not see him bringing the Chosen back out and just running away. That was a very smart move.
Yeah, I think the Sea Guard take him up, if not. So, and that's like an 800 point unit or something. So yeah,
and he actually transported 3 times in the game, which is I think way more than average. I don't know. I thought he used that extremely well, but you came out with the win in the end.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good start for you in the tournament. Up 15 on round 1. Next, we will be going to my round 1 game. We will see how that goes.
Wait, just one thing. So paired weapon podcast with the prediction that I lost. Here you go. Thanks.
In your face, paired weapons.
We're gonna start a little animosity between the channels, right?
All right. Well, anyone still watching, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.